like to turn my headphones on to the mode where you can hear the outside noises when we're doing this, so I can kind of hear myself better.
You can hear Steve.
Yeah, you can definitely hear Steve.
He hasn't made any noise yet this morning. It's a little damp outside.
They've maybe got him inside.
Yeah, he may not want to be out here right now. My dogs aren't even out here. Well, my dogs are lingering underneath the bar where my children are sitting, hoping for a stray Cocoa Puff to fall.
Shouts out to those that observe muddy dog paw season right now.
It's a total mud pit out here because of the pool. Like it's and I don't have anything. I can't do anything because you don't go get sod on Christmas Eve, do you, dads? If there's one thing dads know, it's sod. Yeah, and we're not getting sod right now.
We're not in sod season.
I got patches that I think we've talked about it that the last winter just killed.
Yes, same.
And a whole side yard, right? A whole side yard, like a big old swinging side yard.
Just so much side. The side has a side.
Yeah, we could build another house on this side yard, and it's all mud. And every day, 2 to 3 times a day, I look at it and like, all right, so here's what I got to do. I got to get some. I got to dig out a trench. I got to get some little level rock, put a pipe in there, get a little traffic conductor for drainage there, connect that into the gutter. Once I get that, I can come back through with some leveling soil. And then right after I do that, I can freshly sod it. It'll still take at this time of year, but Ryland's right. It's freaking, when you first start having that conversation, it's Halloween. And then about 5 minutes later, you're having that conversation. It's the week of Christmas or within a week of Christmas. And you're like, I don't have time to do this. The one quote I got was in the thousands. I don't have thousands and Christmas time and whatever is going to pop up in addition to Christmas time right now.
You definitely cannot take on a moderate size outdoor project where you got to pay for it during Christmas time. But I will say, I don't like to pay for a lot of the outside stuff, but I did pay a guy to redo some of my drainage a few years ago. I'm sure we've talked about it on here because this is the official podcast of drainage in the 114 corridor, residential drainage. And it was worth every penny, man. Like it really was. I want to call him back out to check on a few things now that it's been a few years. But that I think is, excuse me, that I think is worth paying for. So, Brad, your dead spots, is this shade related? Is this dog running around related? All of the above? What are our root causes here?
Twofold: shade, least amount of sun contact. So the St. Augustine, being weak and frail, didn't ever dry out and get back to temperature when it was super cold, snowy, and icy. So it's the part where it's going to sit wet and cold the longest. And as such, did I tell y'all? And then we'll wrap up the intro. The whole western side of the house is what I'm talking about. So the side yard is on the western side of the house, but then the west part of my front yard also connects to this side yard, and it's separated by a gate. Huge tree out in the front yard, if you remember.
His yards have multiple directional areas and gates.
There you go.
It's embarrassing.
So did I tell y'all that I got communication from the city?
No,
I don't think so.
Do you need a consultant?
No, I don't. But I will say one of the most bullshit ass reasons I feel like the city could ever communicate with you, the side yard where it joins the public's, or the front part, the part of my front yard where it joins the public sidewalk, is kind of flushed out right now because it's the part that connects to the side yard. And that St. Augustine is in this same shadow, and it stays cold and wet over there, and it died. So because there's no grass, there's no water retention. And when it rains, like it did maybe a couple months ago, rained hard and rained for like 2-3 days, you can get some washout. And this particular washout happened on the sidewalk. So there was about an 18-inch in diameter kind of puddle of dried up mud that was left over from the washout. Okay.
Very common in our part of town. Very, very common.
And
Maybe
they contacted you for that?
a quarter of an inch tall, but it's on the public sidewalk, so it's viewed as unsafe or unsightly. So I got a letter that said you have 2 weeks to clean up the sidewalk, and we suggest that you lay down some sort of fast-growing seed or some sort of sod so as to defeat the washout.
The only way that happens, God almighty, the only way that happens, Brad, is if someone calls them. I'm gonna say it, some fuck calls them. That's the only way that happens.
So now you're looking at your neighbors sideways.
You are now on a mission.
You need to
And
have
I'm
this
talking to
done.
my
there's areas around here where it like the sidewalk is practically mossy only on a person's property line from one corner to the other corner, and the sidewalk was only poured like 5-6 years ago. Back in the day, I even like 2-3 years ago, I told like our streets guy, I was like, "Man, do y'all want to do anything about that?" And he was like, "Because it's so obvious." He just said, "It's not worth it because it'll come right back. Whatever they do, it'll come right back." So somebody called.
So
Let me ask you a
was
question.
On your ass.
Yeah, go ahead, Jace.
And I hate to even bring this up because I hate to even suggest this. Is it possible that your wife called on you?
Oh yeah.
Jason.
Dad's
I'm just asking a question.
human dad's
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 podcast
human dad's
podcast
human dad's
podcast
human dad's
get up off your ass
human dad's
podcast
human dad's
podcast
human dad's
podcast
human dad's
get up off your ass
Oh your mom.
oh your mom
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 Tell your mom to listen. Tell your mom to listen. Tell your mom to listen. Tell your mom to listen.
Are you still doing your YouTube? I forget what you call it. YouTube thing or whatever.
The podcast?
Podcast. Yeah.
It's pretty fun.
It is fun.
get up off your ass for the human dad's
Dude,
podcast
what's wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
You don't like it?
You're the worst.
I love it. I love it. Hey, can I let you guys know
Christmas present for you.
I've been notified of an urgent problem on my phone during the intro. This is live reporting here.
Oh, hold on. Here we go. Is this like the Christian Wood sign?
Almost as big as that. It's from
The president?
I got a text message from Swoolston08 at yahoo.com. Hello, dear user. Your package has arrived at the warehouse and cannot be delivered due to incomplete address information. Confirm your address at the link and we will send it within 24 hours. https://USPS.DCFEP.top. Please reply to Y, then exit the text message and open it again to activate the link, or copy and open the link into your Safari browser. The U.S. Postal Team wishes you a wonderful day. I'm so lucky that they told me about this because there's a Christmas present that wasn't going to get delivered
Yep.
on time if I don't click on DCFEP.top.
Yeah, good job, dude. I'm glad that they sent that to you, dear user.
Before lunch. Yeah. So check your text this time of year and click on all the links.
You're different than me because I would have just ignored that.
I did, but we were talking to each other, and so I thought it'd be funny to tell y'all what Swoolston08 at yahoo.com. Trusty United States Postal Service employee that we all know.
Can I tell
He's
y'all,
doing to help me this morning.
speaking of presents, my major dilemma I have right now?
Okay.
I don't know if you have an agenda for this show, but I have something right off the top.
I was going to ask you a couple questions, so might as well fire off.
So this year, I did 2 relatively large presents for the 2 boys in my house, one for each of them. Much larger than I would typically do, cost-wise. And one of them has arrived. The other one I ordered on December 18th, trusting that
Oh, dear.
Amazon.com would
Oh, dear.
would come through like they have been known to do in the past. And that package was, as of yesterday, was supposed to deliver yesterday on the app. Hadn't shipped yet, but they said, don't worry, it's going to be there today. Just hasn't showed and shipped. I'm like, Dad, I don't feel confident. Did not show up.
It's only 9:20.
Well, it's 9:20 the next day. That's true.
Oh, so now we're a day behind.
So, so I messaged them this morning and spoke with I think his name was Abed. I'm almost positive it was Abed.
Shout
on
out.
Chat. Yeah, shout out. He was a very nice guy, but he assured me that this would be delivered today and that we were in the final shipping stages and they could not cancel my order.
Was this an Amazon person you were talking to, or
yes,
another seller? Okay,
this is an Amazon. It's sold by Amazon. It's in final stages. Cannot cancel. Now, this is big enough to where I'm not super comfortable going to buy another one while I have one purchased and on its way. I mean, it's fine, but I would rather not do that.
Did you order a puppy from Amazon?
I did not know. Do they sell those?
There you go, supporting the Amazon Puppy Mill, the highly controversial.
Yeah, what a shocker.
Amazon Puppy Mill.
Mr.
Don't worry, it would only be Jason's second puppy mill dog.
Might as well be talking about Gaza on the podcast if we're going to talk about the highly controversial Amazon Puppy Mill.
Mr. Golden Doodle over there.
Yeah, I rescued my Golden Doodle.
So have we made the call? Are we going to go look for a last minute puppy just to fill the void, or?
Well, we are rolling the dice hardcore.
Going to buy him a Civic, or?
We're hoping that little puppy gets here in its box with a couple holes poked in the top by today. And if not, we're going to have to do a Christmas Eve.
If it's just been sitting in the warehouse the past few days, it's dead.
No, I think they drop I think they put it outside so that you can get a little puddle of water there on the inside of the cardboard box.
And then it's just licking cardboard to extract any moisture it can from it?
Yeah, and nutrients from the cardboard.
What about food? Do you think it just starts eating the box?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as we all do eventually, right?
When I ordered... Not for survival.
Well, depends on your definition of survival, buddy.
You had that ultimatum put towards you? You had to wait that long? You got the... It's time to be the puppy at the bottom of a box stuck in a warehouse, and you got to eat your way out of the box, or it's over.
I'm no DJ Khaled, Brett. That's not me. That's not me, Daddy.
So you last minute.
I love that. That's one of the things Brad, you said something on Twitter about catching on to phrases and sayings and then finding yourself repeating them for a week or whatever.
That was one.
I don't do that often, but "It Ain't Me, Daddy" is one that just for a couple weeks. "It Ain't Me, Daddy" will be in my brain.
TC mentioned it. TC mentioned it on the IJB podcast with our friend Jake, and he said he gets stuff stuck in his head to where he'll just be saying it to himself, like around the house by himself for nobody. And that's my 100% life. Right now, I am stuck on Bill Belichick Seattle, and I've got a nice little remix playlist in my head that maybe I'll give you guys. But
Seattle.
Yeah.
Seattle.
In my mind, though, like Bill Belichick is like the redemptive character in like a Rudy type movie. And that press conference is, if you just listen to the audio, you could trick yourself into this. When he's saying Seattle, if you just listen to the audio, you can pretend like you're hearing emotion in his voice, like he's holding back like tears and defeat,
Like
and
it's
he's
like it's a frog throat.
yeah, he's
kind
like
of.
Seattle,
Yeah.
Seattle, and the press is just like bullying him, and he's just like Seattle, and like news spreads throughout the facility that this Seattle moment is happening. So the team comes to the wings of the press conference, and they're like witnessing.
It's the
him.
secret play. It's the name of the secret play he's been waiting to call his whole career. And then
They're
but when
just
he
like-
says it, the whole team knows what to do. And the first thing is to assemble in the press conference briefing area.
The press is like, how many times have you been on the plane with Trump and Epstein? And he's like, Seattle.
And then the doors fly open, linebackers
And the players
first.
are all
Yeah.
players are all there waiting for him to come off, and he comes off and he looks them all in the eyes, and one of them, like a no name you've never heard of, looks back in his eyes and is like, Seattle. And it's like the slow clap, but we're not clapping yet. We're just
Music is swelling in the background.
it pans
starting
over
to
to Will
crescendo.
Fork, and Will Fork is like, Seattle. And it pans over to Gronk, and Gronk is like, Seattle. And then a couple of guys start, yeah, Seattle. And then he pans over to Brady, and Brady's got his hand in the air, and he looks at everybody to make sure he's commanding the room. And he's like, fucking Seattle.
And then over in the corner, just off from the crowd, Zeke Elliott has his cropped
Well, now this
athletic
is
shirt pulled
this is
up,
like
and it says
2018,
he's got a
2017.
tattoo across the bottom of his belly that says Seattle. No, this is
maybe
now.
so. In my mind,
now.
Seattle happened back in the past. But this is what goes through my head as I'm by myself walking around doing the dishes each day. And it ain't me, Daddy. Used to be like a response I would have to fight in my head before I responded to somebody with a real answer. Where somebody's like, hey, at work, hey, did you tell Dr. Smith they could have this denture by 12? And my initial response is, ain't me, Daddy.
That's it. You're telling me that's my problem. That's my
That
thing.
It ain't me, Daddy. And then I come out with no, I didn't speak to Dr. Smith's office at all yesterday. So it wasn't me.
So Jace, the only time that I can remember having a delivery issue with Amazon, it was just like, sorry, it's never coming. I've never had it be I've never had it be more than a day delayed and have it actually show up. And it rarely happens, like you said. It rarely happens. But I mean, the 4 times it's happened in the last 5 years or whatever, if it's not a day delayed, it ain't coming, Daddy.
I think you got a Christmas miracle happening.
You got to cut the picture of the gift out of
something
print it out, cut it out, put it in an envelope, let him open it, and then say,
here's what you do.
Abed has a message for you, and you hand him the phone.
Yeah, here's what you do.
And Abed says, listen, man, I'm sorry. I know you don't have a gift, but I promise it's coming. Here's the tracking number.
Just have the
and then
chat
you make it like
up.
you make it like the Santa tracker.
Yeah.
Yeah, you screenshot the gift, right? You screenshot that shows like the order history in the Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Screenshot that, and then you screenshot the chat, and you're like, old Dad did the best he could.
Yeah. It may be the only option, guys.
Before we get to Big Jace content, which I know is coming, I do want to give a couple of Christmas announcements. The first is
Is this gravy adjacent?
Not gravy adjacent. This is candle adjacent. I have a candle update to start with. Sad to report that for the first time, the first gift cycle in my wife's many years of working at a school district, no kids brought a candle.
Whoa.
Okay.
Now, as longtime
right?
listeners of Human Dads will know that we've never bought a candle because of the school gift cycle keeps the candle supply going. So we're okay. We can survive. We have enough stockpiled. But, if it doesn't pick back up during, I guess, somewhere around end of school, or if there's a teacher appreciation, although she's not a teacher, person appreciation day thing, we may have to buy a candle or two, which is something we haven't had to do in a really long time. Second is, I just want to
because you become accustomed to that candle lifestyle, right? Like you can't just not have a candle.
It's in every room now. There's a candle.
Yeah, that's
so
hard.
we're chasing the dragon now, and we need more candles. And I want to sincerely apologize to sincerely anybody and everybody who didn't get a Christmas card from us this year. We don't really have very many listeners that would qualify, because most people that know me in real life know better than to listen to me on a podcast. But we only do Christmas cards on even years now.
Oh, smart.
Because that's what I've negotiated for family pictures. And we used to just send pictures of the kids out on odd years, but we've just decided not to do that anymore. So I just want everybody to know that, yes, you still are on my Christmas card list, but there's just no Christmas card this year.
I didn't get one. I think that's why he's saying this.
No, none of y'all did.
I think, but he's doing it for me. Well, I didn't get one.
I thought maybe your feelings would be hurt, so I wanted to let you
A little
know.
bit hurt, but I'll tell you this. You're not alone. I feel like, for whatever reason, this is like the lowest populated Christmas card year. I think I have a theory that, because you're getting Christmas cards from people who are probably your friends. If they're your friends, they're in a similar stage in life or a similar age bracket. And I think the Christmas card dies when your kids get to like a certain.
When you don't have a new annual picture to kind of show the little kids being a little less little or a little more toddlery or things like that, it definitely moves the needle away from the enthusiasm side of it. And so I agree. I think that's it. And we're not the type, not that there's anything wrong with this, but we're not the type that's going to send you an update on what the middle schoolers are doing or middle schooler / third grader is doing. That's not us. So yeah, I still got love for everybody. The only people that are going to hear this that get a Christmas card are you guys, Adam and Simon, maybe. And that's about it. But
shout out Adam. Shout out Simon.
But if there's anybody else that I'm forgetting or not thinking about, or if this just gets out, if this just gets out on the socials, I love all of y'all. I just didn't want to send anybody a Christmas card this year, and neither did Courtney. And that's actually what matters, is what she wants to do.
Yep,
there you go.
For sure.
Because I'm not the card person.
I do think if you want to keep it short and sweet with the, hey, here's what we're up to, great. But if you want to do...
Yeah, a great example. One of our favorite best friend, family friend people, they had a thing on the back of their card that just said, so-and-so son is checking out colleges. He kind of wants to, it might have said where he wants to go. So-and-so daughter's working on her this and this. It was like 3 sentences.
I like that stuff. I like
Chef's
that.
kiss. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Short and sweet. If you want to wrap up what you did the year, fine. Cool. If you want to print
out
on
a podcast and showed my feet.
Oh yeah. There we go.
2023.
I don't know if you could tell I'm under the weather. I'm under the weather and you're going to do this to me. If you want to put a whole like Bible verse on the back of the thing, like, come on. It's Christmas. I don't need this shit.
What verse would you put on there if you put one on there?
Psalms.
What's your favorite verse?
Are they calling them verses?
2 Corinthians.
Yeah. The only one that everybody knows by heart because of all the weddings. Love is kind. Love is saying, hey, come in here and look at this and tell me if it's weird.
Yeah, I can't see it in the mirror, so I need you to.
That's what love is.
So glamorous.
Seriously, it's on my back. Will you just... I don't... Like, if... Yes, sometimes I get stuff back there, but this feels weird. Can you just... Yeah. I can't get a good angle. I'm too big of a boy here. Can you just look at it?
Just squeeze it a little bit.
And then she's like, you disgust me. And then you're like, ugh, thanks for that. Appreciate it. Jace, you had a hell of a week, it sounds like. Was going to ask you about dark showers because you mentioned that at the last bit of the podcast. But now, I don't think you should be doing anything other than taking the most careful showers possible. Now, I'm not going to blow the load for you. What happened?
It's been a rough year, guys, for me. It's been a rough health year for me. As you remember, I struggled very deeply with back issues all year long. I
To that point, real quick,
mhm.
I'm clearly a little nasally right now. I don't think we've had a show all year where all three of us were full force.
No, I
Like,
don't think so either.
if one of us isn't sick, somebody's got a hip that they're seeing the doctor for
Yeah,
a couple
gout
days,
issues.
or
Yep.
like maybe a gout foot that from pickleball that you're limping on, or like I was
Diarrhea.
last week, or stomach issues. I don't think
Mhm.
we've had one show. Which, by the way, I also think this is our most consistent year of performance from showing up. I don't.
Yeah, we did power through a lot.
I
Maybe
do
had
think
a bunch of cashews and then chased it with a smoothie. And then,
a protein bar.
my entire diet that day was a coffee, 2 handfuls of cashews, and then a
pre-workout
heavily loaded
smoothie.
protein smoothie at like 4 p.m., followed by a digestion-induced nap and a podcast. Where
He
I,
wasn't doing well that day.
like the-
That was the worst I've ever seen Rylan.
That was the
So
chart risk was red.
Yeah.
You know,
red.
like it's like remember like the terrorism level alert, orange, green, blue, green, orange, red, whatever. It was red.
We
They don't
powered
use, do they use
through.
that anymore? Remember when that came out right after 9/11? We're gonna have colors, you guys, to make you know whether or
Those
not
good
you need to be
days.
scared. And then it just like stayed in the middle all the time. And then that couple times they bumped it up to high middle, nothing ever happened. And then they forgot about it, which it reminds me of when they put a stoplight in our cafeteria in elementary school to try and tell us we were being too loud.
So we fought through, but we haven't been full force.
Yeah.
Been a rough year for you in particular, especially with the back that required the flop and fold surgery where they move you from one table to the next.
Can't even imagine what that must have looked like. So glad that I'll never have to be embarrassed by a video of what that looked like.
Just
Probably
throwing you
just
about like a side of
Ding-a-ling,
beef.
flopping out from underneath the
Just
hospital gown,
just wagging
all
down there.
just all smashed up and at its worst possible position.
How
Your
does
little
any
utter
woman,
sack of balls is just floating about.
how does any woman or anyone that
Has to see
loves
that.
loves men, how do they ever have sex with anybody ever again if they
I
work
don't
in that
know.
line of work?
I have no idea.
Mm.
It's
So
disgusting.
I don't think
It's horrible. It's horrible, and I feel awful that anyone had to see that. But yeah, I had to experience that, and then on Thursday, I'm sitting in my chair just like I'm sitting right now with you guys, and I'm in the middle of interviewing a potential candidate for a job that I'm trying to fill.
Okay. So
First
this
time
is a stranger.
This is a stranger.
great.
First-
Not
first
only a
time I've
stranger, but a stranger with whom you want to preserve your credibility
Yeah,
and
definitely.
professionalism.
Yeah, for
Things,
sure.
Things of that nature vis-a-vis
Yes,
corporate America.
correct. I'm trying to
Just
put
add
a
one
good
more
impression.
qualifier. It's remote,
Yes,
so they not in the same room as you.
correct. Yes, this is all
Okay.
via Zoom. So I'm sitting there and I'm doing the interview, and I think I looked down at my watch, if I remember right. I think I felt a buzz on my watch, and I looked down at my watch, looked at whatever was buzzing at that moment, and looked right back up at the screen. And when I looked back up at the screen, something was not right. And when I looked back up at the screen, it just felt, you know, that feeling when you're driving on a road and you hit a little bump or you start heading downhill and you feel that little thing in your stomach and your head kind of floats for a second. It was like that, but instead of headed down a road, like I just drove straight off a cliff.
You know what other driving scenario? I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I feel like this would be more applicable to what you said because I can deal with the quick little rush of the tummy real
Mhm.
quick. Have you ever pulled in while somebody is reversing out? And so the two changes of direction still make you feel like you're going, but you're
Yeah.
not. You're stopped.
You think you're going to hit the bollard in front of the convenience store, even though
Yeah.
you put your car in park and you have a brief moment of what the fuck's wrong with me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's a
Because the
good
car
one.
to your right is moving back. Yep, I've
That's
had
a
that
good
happen.
one. That's a great example.
It freaks me out every single time because
Yeah.
you can't feel it. You're like, I'm stopped. I can't stop anymore.
Yeah, those.
You're standing on the brake, kind of as a just sort of a
Yeah, exactly. And so
like this. You do it like this.
yeah,
Oh,
just like that. So I had that feeling, and I knew something was wrong. It didn't go away immediately. Like sometimes that happens. Like you just get a quick, weird, dizzy
sure.
moment. It happens for me. It has been happening for me more lately, and I just thought this was a result of like the older you get, the dizzier you get more often. I don't know. We've talked about this. Getting older means that you fall or almost fall all the time.
Yeah.
Just for
We talked
stupid
about that
reasons.
specifically, how
Yeah.
you just lose your balance more.
Yes.
Drop things.
Yeah.
You drop things. You don't have the hand strength as much. Unless it, when it counts.
I think
But
all of it working in conjunction is what stops happening. Like the
Right.
balance, the holding things, the moving all at the same time is what the breakdown is. It's not necessarily one of the three, but it's doing it all together.
yes. Exactly. So shit does not feel good. Meanwhile, this guy's like telling a story about when he worked at some printer or something. And
Let me
I'm
tell you
trying to
what my
focus.
biggest fault is. My biggest fault is that I'm a details guy and I
just
can't let
can't
go of
do
the
it.
details.
And I'm sitting there just like, oh Jesus Christ, please. Now, luckily, I'm not alone. There's another interviewer with me
Okay.
doing so. I didn't have to carry the load, but I'm struggling, and it's immediately when this hits, like the second it hits, my hands and my feet are sweating, just my hands and my feet. Like it's so weird. It's like a switch went off. And I'm like, dude, something's not. So we were near the end. I powered through it. Even asking questions was weird, but I was like, okay, I need to go lay down. End of the interview, stood up, went to go lay down. When I laid down, that's when it really hit. And if I move my head an inch, dude, like even the slightest movement of head felt like I had just whipped my entire head around 360 degrees.
But this just it came on quickly, is what you're saying. You're
Yes.
sitting there on the call and you're talking, and then just 10 seconds later, it's this intense.
Yes. So I'm laying in bed, and if I stay completely still, it's tolerable. But the anxiety kicks in because you don't know what's happening to you. You're like, am I having a stroke? Am I dying? So that part, you're dealing with that part in addition to the crazy dizziness. And so I'm alone with two of the kids at home at this point.
Oof.
And I'm like, I've never thought this in my life. Maybe here and there when I was really sick over the 43 years of life I've had. But I was like, I think I have to call 911. Because I didn't know, I had no idea what was going on. And I could, if an intruder came into my home and tried to hurt my kids, I would not have been able to fight them off. And that was kind of what was in my head. Like, if I can't maintain, like, if something happened to my kids, then that to me that's the moment you got to call.
But an intruder, if anybody's coming to your house, Jace, it's Miss Texas.
Yeah, I thought about that too. But if I can't look good for Miss Texas, that's a 911 call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Funny how your first reaction or first thought process is like, can I protect the pack here, or can I make sure that I can present in front of the pack here should something?
Yeah, it's a very primate driven reaction.
It is weird,
it's something
right?
way down deep in the bowels of your brain.
Not like
feel that way.
Not like, can I get one foot on the ground right now? You don't even we don't go necessarily to like the first step. We not like, can I start testing some of my motor skills? It's automatically like, I don't know what the hell's going on right now, but if I had to pick one of my kids up to save them from this fire that's about to happen, I think we're all burning.
Yeah. When you're in moments like this where you're not sure if you're like your body is telling you that you could be like this could be it. It is weird the stuff that runs through your head. And it does sort of immediately make your priorities very clear to you. And so for the first time that I can ever remember, seriously, at least for sure as an adult, I picked up the phone, dialed 911. I don't remember ever dialing 911 ever in my life.
I think that's pretty. I mean, if somebody's told you I've called 911 twice, you're like, what do you live in an abusive relationship, or like what
Yeah, I
do you
guess
do? What do you do for I would think that somebody's only calling once or twice in their whole life.
I was
That's
thinking
just
though, like, you come across an accident or somebody else gets hurt or I don't know. I guess I'd be interested. Hey, comment and like the video and tell us how many times you've called 911 on this.
I think I've called once from a pizza place when I saw a motorcycle rear end a Ford Explorer and then go flying through the person go flying through said Ford Explorer.
Oh dear.
And our next thought was, hey, these people are going to be here for a minute. Let's go take them some Diet Coke
Oh my God.
or some
How old
water.
were you?
19.
Yeah, okay.
Did he go straight through the back
Checks
window
out.
and out the front window?
Oh my God.
Stopped in the vehicle. Alive.
Did y'all hear about? Really lived?
Alive.
Did
Was
y'all hear
the
about
motorcycle driver completely at fault?
I don't. I.
If you rear
it's
end
one of those-
somebody, most of the time it is. I just wonder.
It's one of those things where you're kind of watching it, but you only really remember like the super slow-mo vivid part. I don't know what led up to it. I can't tell you, but I could tell you exactly where it happened on the curb right past the turn in for the pizza place that I worked at in Plano. And
Well, because my first thought is if the three people in there were in the Jeep, mom's driving, kids are in there, and this happened, they're just minding their own business, and bro rear ends them at a high rate of speed and flies into the Jeep, those three people would never recover. That'd be it.
Yeah.
They could walk out without a scratch. Still, that'd be it. They'd be done.
Yeah.
They'd be done.
Did
Completely
y'all?
done. That's one of my biggest fears is like this traumatic thing that you didn't even somehow if you screwed up to cause it, it makes it better. Why is that? What's wrong with me to think that? But I hate the idea of something just happening that you were just wrong place, wrong time, and then it F's you forever.
It wouldn't even bother me at all.
I just don't think about it. I'm sure.
Keep driving like the guy in the Mitsubishi or Eclipse or whatever the other day that drove from like
Cockrell Hill
McKinney
to White Settlement.
That's what I was going to ask you guys. Did you saw that, right? How insane is that story?
That is, I want to know what all was in his system because that is
For those of you that didn't see it, a guy
wild.
hits a homeless person.
He's blackout messed up.
The homeless person flies into his car through the windshield. In the process, loses at least some parts of his body. We know that there
Legs,
were body
at least.
parts.
Yeah,
Okay,
legs.
legs.
At least.
Just like chop the legs right off.
Yeah.
And the legs were left behind on the street and the body. And then he drove like 30 miles
Easily.
with a homeless man's body.
To a Jack in the Box parking lot.
And then just sat there, like looking at his phone or something.
Where some people had to like witness what was going on and say, hey guys, I'm sorry. He got out and he walked into the Jack in the Box. I think he asked them for a car charger as he's covered in blood.
Oh God.
And they
I
said,
didn't read it because I don't want to know all this shit.
somebody in a Jack in the Box at like call it 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, they've seen some shit and they were like, it's time to get on the horn. And they sent out a welfare check because the guy went back to his car to just sit there with half of what we could assume is a human body just sitting in the front seat with him and a busted ass windshield and who knows what else on his car. I feel like, and this is going to sound crazy though, I feel like you hear about these like once every few years because There was another one somewhere out there in Tarrant County where the person like knowingly
Yeah, I
like
remember that.
drove with the body possibly still alive and dying, lodged
to-
into the windshield, and
Yeah,
just
kind of
parked
tried
it
to
in
cover
its
it up or
garage.
something. Yeah.
Oh yeah, all gurgling right there in the windshield. Just
I think that's because it's such a wild story. Every time it happens, you hear the whole story. But you're right, and that was just a couple years ago.
I feel like it wasn't that long ago. Somebody's going to be like, that was 2007. And I'll be like,
it's
oh,
awful.
No, I think it was post-COVID or maybe early, but it was not long ago. These things should not be happening enough for us to be like, which podcast year were we in when it happened?
So, Jace, you call 911 and the operator's like, don't worry, we'll send a police officer to sit out in front of your car. So, in case there are any threats, or sit out in front of your house,
Yeah, right.
in case there are any threats,
Right.
you can handle whatever you're dealing with, but the police officer will handle any of the threats.
Yeah, I asked them just to send a police officer out to sort of hang out in front of my house.
If Miss Texas comes by, try and look cute,
act
cool,
but fix my
act
hair
like
for
nothing's
me.
wrong. Yeah,
fix my hair for me and make sure that I don't have flop wiener because I can't adjust myself or fix myself. No, but I
could you
the
tuck
call
my flop
itself
sack
was
for me?
The call itself was very, very quick. She's like, "Hey, what's going on?" I was having a hard time explaining things because I'm struggling. It's closed, but she got my information. She said, "I'll get someone out there really fast." I would say that there was someone at my house. It felt like maybe 5 minutes later, max. It was fast.
Garland or Richardson?
I have no idea.
Okay.
It was a fire paramedic person.
You're right in the middle.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who it was. So the guys, there's two dudes that look exactly like you would expect firefighters to look like.
Made you feel safe?
Made me feel very safe. Both had mustaches. One was shorter but burly. The other one was taller, also burly. Firefighters, man, hot as hell as usual.
Shirts too tight.
Shirts
they're
too
the best.
tight. Yeah,
they're the best.
The best.
They know how to render aid and care in a medical setting, and they can figure out how to put out a fire. They can go get a cat out of the tree. They probably can fix a lot of shit under duress because that's what they're spending their time doing on their downtime. Listen, man.
Too many clean tattoos. Like
Probably
it's
like
a tattoo. It's not supposed to be like so perfect. Like
it's like an anchor or something too.
Yeah.
It's like an anchor underneath a hairy arm that's overly tan because they're outside fixing fences all day.
Obviously. Yeah.
Side gig. Big side gig.
Of course.
Fencing is a big firefighter. Any firefighter side gig, you know you're getting the call because people love to look it up on the internet and find, fireman's moving. Hell yeah,
of course,
guys.
Love Firehouse Subs. Love a couple of firefighters and a kid moving company, whatever. So,
don't think they should be out on the street with the boot collecting charity, though.
No, I don't like that.
We don't want anyone doing that.
Putting a resolution out right now. We're not doing that anymore. When I sit on the town council
at ACB.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Okay, sorry, Jace.
So they come in, they do their kind of initial thing. They take the blood pressure. It's pretty high. Obviously, I'm having a traumatic event, and I think that they kind of are trying to talk me out of going to the hospital. They're like, I think we got vertigo here, and the hospital is pretty packed, man. We were just there, and we might just have to take you right to the waiting room. And I'm like, I hear you, man. I didn't want to go. Trust me. I don't want to go to the fucking hospital. I certainly don't want to go in an ambulance. But I'm like,
with your kids, or can the kids stay home?
By this time, I had alerted of my situation, and a grandparent had come over.
Okay.
So a grandparent was in the house. Thank goodness. And I'm like, I don't want to go either. But I think I can't just lay here like this. Like, what's the resolution? Does this just? I even asked him, like, does it just go away? He's like, man, we don't know. Could be. He's like, I've never had it. I'm like, okay.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm like, all right. Well,
hold on. Let me Google that real quick for you.
Yeah.
It says you got a good 48 to potentially 96 hours.
Yeah, which I could not I was not willing to suffer in this way during that time. So they're like, all right. I said, let's go. Oh, I'm going to do it. And they're like, well, here's the deal. We can't get the stretcher up in the house. Got kind of a weird house design. I do. Like, it's a very sharp 90-degree turn in a hallway into my room. It's going to require that I get up and walk out there. It's raining, by the way.
Did you stop to ask them what would happen in a situation where the stretcher was non-optional?
I think he said something like,
Did they get
remember.
the field medic cot thing where one grabs the handles on one side and
they would have had to like turn me sideways to do that. Like, I don't know what they would have done, but it is a thought for my next house.
Did you tell them, hey, run over to the garage, hit the button, y'all can pull around back?
Afterwards I thought about that because there is a straight shot from the bedroom to the garage, so they could have done that, but I didn't think about it at the time.
If you were really, really actually like emergency, got to get you out of there as opposed to help you out, I bet they would have gone through the house and said, yeah, we'll go through here. But
yeah,
they figured, hey, we can help him walk out. That's probably what they were thinking.
I didn't think I'd be able to, but I was like, I'm going to do it. And they grabbed my hand, pulled me up from the laying position, which, dude, not good. Not a good feeling. But once I was standing upright, as long as I kept my face completely straight, so if I walk like a robot, it was doable. By the way, the nausea had hit hard by this point. So he goes, put a hand on my shoulder, I'll walk you out. I had a hand on the shoulder of this little firefighter who's walking me out, traversed the steps out in the front of my house, laid down on this gurney as the rain is hitting me straight in the face. And I'm like, this is my life now. I'm like, this is
the sprinkler at Disney World.
This is the sprinkler at Disney World, dude. I'm on a gurney.
And it's raining on my face.
It's raining straight because I'm under a tree, so it's
you're under
drops.
You're under a collection point of the tree too, so it's not just like little drops. It's like 15 drops,
hardcore, gigantic drops straight on the face. And I'm like, oh,
hey, Brad,
I want to barf so bad.
For nearly 4 years, Brad, we give old pal Jace a hard time because sometimes he just says he doesn't bring any content, although he frequently does. But then when he brings the content that makes us laugh the most, it's him telling a story of suffering.
It's my own misery.
It's always the most beaten. Like
every time.
There's got to be a part of you though that there's got to be a part of you now by the time like in the back of your head, like, well, at least I got this part of the week figured out. Like at least I got 15 minutes I could give to the guys now.
That may have crossed my mind. I don't remember.
As the acid rain just drips down his forehead and he can't even lift his hand to wipe it off, so it's starting to itch a little bit. And
so my eyes are closed.
Did they put you in the neck stabilizer?
No.
Okay.
But they get you up in the ambulance, and it's like a 5-minute drive over to Methodist. The guy's sitting there back there with you, and he's like, man, you don't have any stroke symptoms. You seem okay. Like, we'll get you fixed up. Don't worry.
What are you doing for the Cowboys game? You know
what they do? I will tell you this. You know what they do? Hey, tell me your social security number. Let me go ahead and get your address. They're starting to like take information that they're going to use for the reports, and I'm like, dude, this is not the time. This doesn't feel like the right time.
I appreciate I appreciate the intent though, because you're going to have to do it
for sure. So I'll finish the story up pretty quickly, but we get to the hospital. The hospital is jam-packed, so I go directly back to the emergency room, but it's so busy that there are no rooms available, so they just leave you on the gurney in the hallway, and there are like gurneys lined up between rooms in the hallway.
Nightmare.
So I'm on my side anyway. I'm facing the wall, and I'm just staring at the wall, just like they put an IV in, they give me some fluids, they give me some, what I found out now is just Dramamine, and I feel better quickly.
But they're like, me, bud.
I know. They're like, hey, you're good. I felt better. I was still very nauseous. I still don't feel great. There's something going on with something that's causing this. Vertigo is a symptom of something else, usually inner ear related. And they're like, hey, go talk to an EMT, ear, nose, and throat doctor. And that's it. You can go home. So I went home.
Didn't
On
it?
your-
It
Vertigo.
basically end. Didn't it? Basically, was it Rocco Baldelli? With
Yeah,
the
I think
Rays?
that's
He
right.
basically
Yeah.
kind of ended his career. And I think there was a guy with the Braves back in the '90s that fought it too.
It's
Ryan
brutal, man.
Klesko's name is jumping in my head, but I don't think it was him.
I told
don't know.
Jace I worked with a guy who was at work. And I wasn't there because I was driving, but I came back and I see the ambulance pulling out. Dude full blown fell down, and the messed up part about it is that he hit his head, like dealt with the vertigo, but like you're a 6-foot man and you just fall straight down, and your head is what is I think he hit his desk. Your head is what contacts the fall. Like that's where the landing part of the fall is. That very likely could be some serious issues. I think he had to get stitches
Yeah.
to
Oh, it could be bad, dude. Depending on like how it affects
close him
you.
up.
Yeah,
That's
it's not good. So I survived, guys. I am struggling even now. Like I still feel just not quite right. Just
like
something feels
uneven,
weird.
or
Guys,
Just like weird float head, kind of not good.
in 1990 with the Braves, I said it was the Braves. It was
Yeah.
Nick Isaski.
I
The
don't
great
remember
Nick
Nick
Isaski.
Isaski.
Klesko Isaski. My brain was trying.
Yeah,
It's
you were
weird, man.
close.
I want us to be able to. I don't want a lot of technology, but I want us to be able to upload our brains into something that'll help understand where that comes from. That a guy with SK in his last name played for the Braves and had vertigo 35 years ago.
Yours especially, your brain especially, not mine so much.
They call it neurospicy, Jace. I had a friend of mine that I grew up with that had vertigo for a little bit, and I don't see him that often, but I should ask him next time I see him, like, what was the, because I remember him telling the story, I don't know, several years back, and it was like it came and whatever happened, and he hated it and it was terrible, and then it was fixed, but I don't know what the actual cause was.
The crazy thing is you guys know I'm a medical guy, right? I love the medical
Oh
stuff.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have looked into vertigo a little bit, and one of the potential causes, I don't know if this is the one that I have or not, is that there are these little crystals that are in your ear that sort of help with hearing and other things, like little tiny little crystals. And there's also a tube in your ear that's filled with fluid. And this
Okay.
tube, the fluid, helps you like have spatial awareness and sort of understand where you are when you're moving and all that stuff. It helps your brain understand the signals. Like it's the thing that tells your brain that you're moving.
That makes
Well,
sense.
when those the fluid doesn't move normally until you're moving. Well, this crystal will like float into that tube on accident and cause the fluid to move, which tells your brain that you're moving when you're not moving. And that's what creates the dizziness and the bad.
You
bad
got
stuff.
float crystal.
I got float
I don't-
crystal.
I don't know why they call it vertigo. It's called float crystal.
It's a better name for it.
We're nearing the end. Can I weave a little yarn about a dadism for you guys real quick?
Love that. Well, that's a great ending to this show.
You know how sometimes like so the genesis is that like my wife, for whatever reason, another bragging montage, I don't know, she's really going all out with my presents this year, and she keeps stacking them up, and she's like, look at this, you see that stack over there for you? This is fairly, it's non-typical. Okay, I'm not saying we don't get each other stuff, but a stack, that's not. And if there is a stack, it's usually like my stack for her is taller, because honestly, she probably has a hard time coming up with stuff for me, because we've talked about this before. Do you just sit there and want for stuff?
No, you just buy
Or
it.
do you just go get it, right?
Yeah.
Courtney and I several years back just started kind of getting each other stocking stuffers, and maybe like a one-off thoughtful thing we saw while we were shopping for the kids, and we just leave it at that because of that exact reason.
So this year we're kind of maybe amplifying the stocking tradition, and the stocking tradition is going to turn into like a second phase of Christmas gifting at night. I don't know. I'm trying something new. Whatever. I go with it. I love Christmas. I'm not here acting like I'm beaten down. I flipping love Christmas, and Molly is tremendous at making good Christmas. So do not take me wrong here. But I see the gifts stacking up, and I'm confident in my stack, but sometimes it's a very grower, not a shower type situation. Like,
Yeah, of course. What's inside that counts.
yeah, you gotta, like, the stack itself looks fairly like tame, but I know what's in the stack.
Yeah.
But while
And
it's sitting there, that stack versus her, she got a shower stack.
yeah,
Okay, her stack is showing. My stack is gonna grow
and
Hers
deliver
is
hardcore.
Yeah, hers
Like-
is showing.
Blow her out of the water.
Right
Absolutely.
now your stack has a little flop wiener.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got
we
some
are.
flop
We
wieners.
definitely got some flop wiener, flop sack happening on my stack.
But
okay?
when the time comes
Mhm.
to open the presents, you're not gonna be wearing a hospital gown.
No, exactly.
And-
You're gonna be
So
fully manicured, ready to roll.
so I go to Target and I tell myself I just gotta run in and out of Target. I do an online order. I gotta run in and out of Target, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't really care. I'm going right in and out of Target. I don't care what time of year it is. That's what's happening. Okay.
What's wrong with you? That never happens. Stop.
You know how
stop.
sometimes, like when you go out to eat with the family, you'll be like, table for 4. And they'll be like, okay, that'll be 30 minutes.
Mhm.
Is that okay with you? And you'll be like, yeah, we will accept this beating that is sitting in your restaurant lobby for the next 30 minutes, like peasants, until you tell us we can have a table for food. We will do that. And so you sit there for the next 30 minutes and you wait for your turn and you get a table. Sometimes you walk in, though. It's magic, right? And you say, table for 4. And what do they say? Right this way.
Follow me, sir.
You sit down at the table. Server comes over, says, hi, I'm Ashley. You want any drinks? You order your suds or your sweet tea, whatever kind of guy you are. I don't know what kind of guy you are. I don't know what your scene is. Happy to have gotten a table immediately. Your wife takes her hand, maybe takes your hand, maybe puts it on her thigh. Oh, okay. You see she wants the bad guy tonight. Maybe you order some brown drink. I don't know. I don't know what y'all's life is. Keep the magic alive however it takes. I do whatever it takes. I don't know. But you're surveying the space. You've been there for about 15 minutes.
I just hope you're doing better than ordering a bourbon in a 4-seat booth at Applebee's as you're keeping the magic alive. That's all I'm hoping for.
Fair enough.
large,
But if
dude.
that's your life, that's your life. I'm not here to
Yeah.
judge.
Absolutely, do what you got to do.
But you're sitting there, so you got your drinks, you got the table, you didn't have to wait. Everybody's getting settled and acclimated. We figured out the menu. You look around and you see the entryway over there, and you've noticed a congregation of like 15 to 20 people have gathered. And you've been there for about 15 minutes. You're settled. You got your chair. You got your table with your family. It's lovely, right? And as you see that group of like 15 to 20 people, a grin washes over your face. It's a pregnant grin. It is a grin that is ready to share. And you take your eyes from that congregation of 15 to 20 people and you point your gaze and your grin back at the table.
Mhm.
Big old shit-eating grin you got on
Yeah.
your face.
Yeah.
And you point it back at the table. Maybe clear your throat. Look at your family. Grin on your face. Well, looks like we got here just in time,
Oh
doesn't it?
yes. Oh yes. Absolutely.
They look over
Absolutely.
and they see it, and everybody just joins in the adulation. Wow, we got lucky. Look at
High
us.
fives all around. We beat the
Mhm.
crowd, beating the crowd.
Kids are
man.
cheering. Wife gives you a little-
Everybody loves when you beat the crowd.
Yeah.
Let me take you to Target in Rowlett, Texas. Right off of Little
Oh,
Road.
The fuck are you doing over there?
That
Jesus.
sounds horrible to me. What are we doing? Rowlett is halfway to Shreveport from here, first of all. Target,
feel-
like there's a Target every 6 miles.
There's
Why are
there
you-
are 2 targets within 5 minutes of him.
he's
What's
100% correct. But
What?
but I hopped
This was
online and
This was a pick up at store location X today deal.
see
Yeah.
what's in stock. Show me where it's in stock. It's
Yeah.
in stock here. I agree with everything you guys are saying. Jace, you're 100% correct. I could go northeast and there's a Target. I could go directly south of me and there's a Target, right?
Mhm.
And I say, you know what? I'm going to do it. Place the order, set it for pickup next day. Don't have time to get over there next day. Get the email that says you got one more day to pick this bad boy up before we're abandoning. I go out to Rowlett for work fairly often. So to make a little stop in,
Big
Your
Roadhead area.
Yeah, a
around
lot
that.
of roadhead happening out there. That's
oh
true.
yeah, 66. That's what it's known for.
Mhm.
Your boy sees the Target. He's already made a run that he had to do. He said, I'm going to hit the Target on the way back. Your boy's pulling up to the parking lot of the Target. And like, I am undeterred. I am going to be in and out of this place. I show up. I've got to, what's a more timely reference? What do I want? I was going to say, my initial thought was, I got to Walter Payton the parking lot once I'm out of the car. There's that many people,
Mhm.
right? Walter Payton doesn't qualify. I mean, Barry Sanders, at least. Like, I'm in and out, right? No line,
Jim Brown,
no blocking.
stiff arm.
I got olds, like,
Yeah.
creep walking. I got
Mm.
moms that are afraid to back out because there's people in the parking lot. I'm just, I don't care. I'm kind of losing my manners that I would typically have. Okay. Get to the door. Somebody is creeping. I did the almost tremendously embarrassing thing of approaching the sliding door too fast. Where you've got to hit the brakes because it didn't catch you. And I almost clip, but we're good. We're good.
Kind of turn
I
a
don't
little
pay it.
sideways just to make sure.
Yeah,
you
just
kinda
turn the shoulders.
Yeah, just
If I had
shoulder
vertigo,
turn.
I would have fallen over by this
Yeah,
point. Okay?
definitely can't do that right now. Yep.
I walk right up to the customer service desk. I'm like, look at this shit. It's empty. Are you kidding me?
I feel like you're as you're sliding through the door, you're thinking about rotating your hips like you're running a route.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you're doing the
It's,
Dak,
everything is just locked
he's
in.
doing that Dak Prescott pregame hip thing that he does. He's doing that as he walks through the door.
He's
Yeah,
I'm
trying
in
to
my
be
head. I'm like,
very
shift your weight, shift your
precise.
weight. Yeah,
quick
shift your
twitch,
weight.
quick. Yeah.
I get to the customer service desk. Mind you, I'm moving so fast. I walk past all the signs.
Oh yeah, dude. Yeah.
Okay. Get to the
Feeling
customer
good.
service desk.
You're
I got
feeling
the
good right now.
barcode. I'm the only one there. She's
Yeah,
like,
you're
what do
feeling
you got? I said, I got a pickup order. She goes, oh, we're
Mm.
doing pickup orders down by the cafe on the other side of the store now. Oh, that's okay. I'm so sorry. I should have. I noticed the sign now that you said. I'm so sorry. Oh, don't worry. You're just fine. Good luck.
Oh no.
Good
Oh,
luck.
Hmm.
You've been to the front of a Target where there's customer service, where there's cafe. A lot of times they're on opposite ends. That's a decent walk,
no.
right?
My first job at the Target Cafe, by the way. First big job.
That sounds fun.
It was
It's a
awful.
decent walk from one end of a Target to the other,
Mhm.
right?
Especially in Rowlett. Big Targets out there.
It's a new super Target.
A lot of space out there, You're in the exurbs at that point.
So I'm walking. I don't really see where the pickup counter is cut out as I'm walking. And I see the cafe counter. I'm like, where is this? And then I get right to the cafe counter, walk right up to the little kiosk. And the lady goes, how can I help you? I'm looking back. There is nothing but packages on walls as far as you can see. They got
Mhm.
carts. They got packages on the floor. Show her the barcode. 15 seconds later, it's in my hand.
Okay.
I go to retrace my walk. I get about 10 steps into my walk. I turn around. And I see no less than 25 people all at one time, like zombie walk into the pickup order right there. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, it all just came together perfectly. Whereas I am, like, if I had on a trench coat, my tail would have slapped one of them in the face. That's how close I am to this situation.
That's
It's
a
like
dad living right there.
25 people all congregate all at once. I put my fist in the air
Mm-hmm.
and I just whispered it to myself. I just
Just
whispered
in
it to
time.
myself. Looks like I got here.
Oh, it's beautiful. God, it's beautiful.
Same thing gonna happen to me yesterday at Whataburgers. Family was
Hold
all-
on, Rylan.
Hold up.
We need to wait 15 seconds before we can hear you because of our technology problems. Hold on.
Nice little outro.
What about now?
Oh yeah, you're fine now. You're
Sound
fine.
great. Same
Why
thing
did it do
happened.
that? Same thing happened to me yesterday at Weinberger's. My family was gone, and it was my first chance to actually Christmas shop. And of course, me being stupid, I thought I really want one of my favorite sandwiches, which happens to be in the middle of Grapevine, where there's Christmas everything all the time. And I thought this could be a problem. And I got there at like, a little after 1 o'clock, and it felt really normal. And then by the time I sat down to wait on my food, the line was out the door and then some. So I
This just
understand
goes
that
to show, guys.
exhilaration, man.
You guys have been good dads this year. You're dadding it up well, and you deserve it to arrive just in time.
Dad Jesus shone his face upon us
That's right.
for our good deeds over the year.
Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. I feel like it's unlikely that we will record next week because I've got a hell of a 4-day swing coming up. Headed north, headed south, both.
Dr. Pepper.
I can record probably.
Day trip to Waco.
Okay.
If I'm going to record, it's going to have to be. We'll do this offline. Why are we doing this? Merry Christmas, everybody! Thank you for listening all year. Seriously,
You're the best. This is fun. Isn't this fun that we get
it's
to do this all
tremendously
year?
fun. Yeah. It's wonderfully fun. Thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you'll continue to do so. Hopefully you will tell your mom, because that's what we do. Shouts out to my fellow coitus champions. Thank you for doing this all these years. Please give your wife an inappropriate hug for me. Tell her I said Merry Christmas softly, like whisper it in her ear.
Cup her little buttocks.
And just like whisper it in her ear. I'll do the same for you. We'll holler at y'all next time. Tell your mom to listen. Bring the bread. Go to Arby's. Keep it tight.